Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayowealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
One of our mission statements is to help you find 3, 4, 5 avenues of income in retirement. Well, our entire life, we've had one avenue of income, and that's been our paycheck from work. So when you say multiple streams of income, give me a couple of examples of how I can continue to get a paycheck when I'm not working.
Well, like you said, most of us have one paycheck, right? You work at a job, you get that one paycheck. But in retirement, we have to make up that money we're losing. And how are we going to take it? So we're going to have income coming from Social Security, maybe. That's one avenue of income. If you're one of the few blessed people still to have a pension, Mark, that's another avenue. How are we going to make that work?
We're talking to all 7 of you right now.
Yes. Don't push each other out of line. But our state employees have pensions. Our federal employees still have a great pension system. Some corporations, big corporations, still have them, but they changed how they work and they stopped them, they froze them. So that's another. But how about your 401k? The question people ask all the time is, so I take all my money out and I move it to my checking account. No, that's foolish. You need that to last for 20, 30, maybe 40 years in retirement. And it's how we're going to set it up, how we're going to use it, and how we're going to disperse it to minimize your exposure while maximizing growth opportunities for you. So when the markets are up, you pull from that. When the markets are down, we're safe. And it's about having that family first retirement plan put together. It has to be something that's cohesive, makes sense, and works for you. Mark, last week we talked about when people talk to advisors and they walk in the door and the advisor says, I know exactly what you need. I'll have it for you. This is what you're going to do right now. How the hell can they tell you what you need when you walk in their door for First Mint? Folks, if your advisor you're working with hasn't done a financial analysis for you, hasn't put something together to see what your wants, needs, and desires are, they are not an advisor. They are a salesman. They're pushing an agenda upon you. This is not how I run my business. We're here for you. We're here to help you, educate you, enlighten you, and show you where you're going. We go on vacation, Mark. We talk about this, a road trip. If the GPS goes down, imagine driving and that happens. We don't know how to read a map anymore. We're lost. We're going to give you the written map for your retirement, show you where you're at, how we're going, and ideas about how to work for you and your family to be in the right place. Because at the end of the day, it's about your family, your money, your children, your spouse, your retirement. We're going to help you build the plan to fit your needs. So call us at 302-330-2166, and let's schedule that no-cost, no-obligation meeting.
And George, you also said something there about that second opinion too. There's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. Maybe you have a big box advisor out in, Jersey, maybe out in Philly, maybe out in Chicago, LA, Atlanta. You hear from them maybe once, maybe twice a year. That's not acceptable, George.
If you hear from them that many times.
If you hear from them. And we were talking earlier in the show about, getting the temperature of the families you serve right now. But you've said too, we get a lot of phone calls of people just saying, hey, I've got somebody, but I've got questions that aren't getting answered. That's happening more and more right now, it feels like.
It's really funny you say that, Mark. There's a lady that I'm speaking with through the show, listened to the show a couple weeks ago, and I'll just call her Janice. And Janice, she is a widow. Her husband passed away a few years ago. And when you talk to this woman, he was and still is the love of her life. Mm-hmm. They had an advisor. Her husband's a really smart man. He worked really hard. They both did. And they have this product, and we're going to talk about these in a few minutes, and she has no idea what it's about. And she asked the advisor some questions. The reason I'm saying this is he sent her a printout off the computer. He wouldn't answer the questions. I'm not allowed to address those issues. What do you mean you're not allowed to address this issue? I'm the customer.
Mm-hmm. It's my money.
It's my money. And she showed to me, she goes, I have no idea. My son-in-law, who's a pretty smart man, said, I don't get it either, Mom. And that's the problem with these big box firms.
Yeah.
When you talk to us, I'm not that smart, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm a financial advisor. I know numbers. I know how to plan for retirement. We're going to talk like we're talking right now. Two people having a conversation and explain to it in the simplest terms, because I'm simple.
Yeah.
Me and my dogs get along really well just for that purpose. But we're going to explain in everyday words how it is, what your question is, This is the answer. This is the approach. And that's what our job is. So when you work at those big box firms, a lot of times they're not able to answer questions because they don't know how the questions work about the exact product that Janice had and the problems with it and how we're going to work around that to fix it.
You hear about these like celebrity money people, your Dave Ramsey's, your Susie Ormans, Jim Cramer. Like, just out of curiosity, in your industry and the line of work that you do, George, what's your take on these TV talking heads that talk money?
You know what? I listen to them only because our customers hear them. And I want to hear what they're saying. You know, just like we get subscriptions to Money Magazine, for example, because our customers, our prospects are seeing this every day. I want to see what they're reading. So when I hear Susie Orman, I hear the guy, Jim Cramer, Dave Ramsey, I listen, but I don't really listen to them.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're hearing. So when you asked me that question, Mark, about X, Y, Z, I heard on this.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, and we can have a conversation about it. Sure.
All right. Well, here's a prime example. Here's Susie Orman, and we're talking about annuities as one of those opportunities for income in retirement. And she likes annuities, but not all of them. Here's Susie Orman.
The annuities that I do not like are variable annuities. A variable annuity is like a mutual fund owned by an insurance company. Within the contract, because it's a contract, it's an annuity. Oh, it gets so complicated there. However, this is what you need to know. Just stay away from variable annuities and you'll be just fine.
Do you agree, George Politarhos?
You know, I told you I don't listen to Susie Orman well. Absolutely, she's right about that, to 100%. And we talk about this every week, Mark. There's really 4 types of annuity, folks, when you look at the variable annuity, immediate annuity, deferred annuity, and a fixed index annuity. And what's the difference? Well, Susie and I agree about variable annuities not being the right fix and to stay away from it. Variable, by definition, is variable. It can go up or go down in value. If that's the case, if that's what you like, that high risk with a variable annuity, well, we'll do the managed funds for you. And we'll outperform the S&P 500 with less risk for you than they're doing. So we can handle that part. The other side of this about variable annuities has extremely high fees. Tax situations are very poorly done. And the cost basis is hard to understand because it's complex. We were just talking about Janice, and her advisor wouldn't answer a simple question she had about this. She had 2 different numbers on here for the amount of money in the account, and he couldn't explain what they were. That's the problem, that the advisors selling these don't understand them. So how the hell am I supposed to understand it being the customer sitting at home? The annuities I do like, and well, let's talk about the other 2 first. We have an immediate annuity and a deferred annuity. And sometimes, folks, that fits people's situations. I'm not a huge fan, but sometimes I have to do what's right for the customer after everything's looked at, and they fit well. And what they are is they turn on income from this, a guaranteed lifetime income amount. But the moment you turn on, whether it's the first 12 months, which is an immediate annuity, or after 12 months, which is a deferred annuity, once I turn on that income stream, guaranteed for my life and maybe my spouse's life, it's no longer my money. That's the problem with that product. So when I turn it on in 2 years and there's $350,000 in the account and I'm getting, pick a number, $500 a month, whatever the number is, and I call and say, you know, my son Alex or my son Jared has a problem and I need extra money this month. I need an extra $5,000. The insurance company's going to say, well, I'm really starting to hear that, George. Your check for $500 will be there on the 1st. It's not your money. Now, once again, for certain situations, I need that for that customer, okay? Because we're not a snowflake. Everyone's not the same. We're different. Sometimes I need it. What I really like is I love flexibility. I love having complete control. It's just the way I operate my mind. And the fixed index annuities fill those voids so well for part of my retirement. How's it work? A, most time there's no fees. Secondly, it's always my money. We can set up an income stream out of that account. I can set up $1,000 a month or $500 a month every month to go to my customer. And when that time comes that your son or daughter, your brother, your sister, your parents have a problem, they need money. George, I need to take out an extra $5,000. Here it is here. You have it next week. take care, and your check for the other 1,000, whatever the setup is, will be there the following. That is what's so great about it.
What about the penalties for pulling money out of an annuity?
Well, with a variable annuity, the penalties are substantial as everything. Both a fixed index annuity, most of them, not all of them, most of them have a 10% free withdrawal out of the account. And then once you take out more than that 10%, there is a slight penalty which decreases over time. After 10 years. As a rule, it's gone.
Okay.
I don't like to go. They have annuities that, Mark, just so you know, they have annuities that can go out to 14 years with surrender. I am not a fan of that, folks. That's a mortgage payment to me, not an annuity, investable assets for us. So we're usually looking at that 7 to 10 year window, because the 10-year really gives the optimal benefits to our customers.
Insurance and annuities offered through George Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.